In this video, you are going to learn how to use benchmarking reports in Google Analytics to grow a business. Now, benchmarking reports in Google Analytics appear here underneath the Audience tab, and really what they allow you to do is to select from 1,600 industry verticals and to compare the performance of your website to other websites that are in the same industry as you. And that gives you a fantastic baseline to measure your own business and can also give you insights into industry trends. And with those insights then, you can make changes in your business and grow in a particular way based on how your industry peers are performing. So the first thing to note is that these reports won't appear by default. You do need to enable them. So to do that, come into the admin section of your Google Analytics account, click on Account Settings, and then just click Enable Benchmarking here. So what this is going to do is by sharing your information, of course, it's all going to be anonymous. There won't be anything to say it's from your website, but by sharing it, you will then receive all of the data back from the other websites who shared them as well. So it's a great anonymous way of sharing data and receiving data, and really just gives everybody that better insight into their industry. So let's come back to the benchmarking reports here and have a look at how you would actually analyze them. So first thing, you can see that there are 3 different reports here, and the first one that we can look at is the channels report. So what we want to do in order to get some good insights is to firstly select our industry vertical. So we're here inside the Google Merchandise Store. So what I am going to do is to select the shopping vertical. I'll just type this in to save speed. So we're coming down to shopping, and I'm just going to leave it as all shopping here. You can get more specific if you want. Now also what you can do is select a specific region. So I'm going to narrow it down. So I'm comparing against a smaller and more accurate set of websites by picking people, say in my country, just for example, United States, all regions. Now to get a more accurate benchmark, what I'm also going to do is narrow down by size of daily sessions. So this is really the number of sessions that I get per day. I want to find websites that have similar amounts. So if you don't know how many sessions you get per day, you can just come into your audience overview report. You can select and make sure it shows for the last 30 days. And then you can see the number of sessions that you have. Just take out a calculator and divide that by 30. I've done this in advance, so that's about 1,800 sessions. So coming back to my benchmark reports, I can just pop that in now. And once it loads up, we're really going to be looking at a set of websites then that are very similar to my own. So here we go. It gives you a range. I'm going to select 1,800. That's between this range here. And what we can see then once this loads up is in the top right hand corner. So there are 483 web properties contributing to this benchmark. So essentially I'm comparing myself to 483 similar sites in the same region and in the same industry. So what we can see down below here is now how my website is performing against the benchmark across all of these different marketing channels. So everything in green is positive. This is where I'm outperforming the benchmark, and everything in red here is where I am underperforming compared to the benchmark. So just to make this clear, if we look at the referral marketing channel, so this is other websites sending visitors to me directly, I can see that these are my numbers here. So sessions over the last 30 days have been 8,946, and the benchmark, which is the aggregate figure for all of those 483 sites, is 3,331. So I am outperforming the benchmark by 168%. So that's very positive to see that my referral channel is performing extremely well. And an insight for me seeing this as well, if that's performing so well, I should continue to do that because that gives me a serious advantage over other competitors. Now, if we look down at the performance of other marketing channels, I can see that I am not as strong on, say, organic traffic, although it's down 20%. But if we really look down, say display advertising, social media, paid search, compared to my competitors, I don't put as much effort into those marketing channels, or at least I'm not getting the number of users for them. So how could I grow this site based on the information that I'm seeing? Well, I can see that my competitors and the 483 other sites are much more heavily using paid search, social, and display advertising, and potentially those are untapped marketing channels for me that I could really use to get much more traffic to the site. Now, if we look at some of the other green ones here, this is just to look at other metrics, not just the number of sessions, the number of users that come to the site per day essentially, but some of the other metrics. So I can see, even though, let's say for paid search, even though I use it much less as a marketing channel than other marketing channels and my benchmark, I can see that the pages per session and the average session duration and the bounce rate, so these are all user metrics. This is showing me that users, when they come through paid search, they do spend a lot of time on my site because all of these metrics that indicate that are very positive. So once again, I would really, if I was running the Google Merchandise Store and it was built for profit, obviously it's not, it's more just like an example site to sell Google merchandise, they could heavily invest in paid search because the other people in their industry are, and the small amount in traffic they are getting from this marketing channel is performing extremely well. And you could say the same for social, maybe not the same for display. So if you really wanted to choose, paid search would be the way to go. So that was just the channels reports in the benchmarking. We can also look at the location report. Now, the location report compares your country or territory data to the benchmarks for each of the countries and territories from which you receive traffic. Now, since we have selected just the United States, we're only going to see the US show up in this report. But if you had selected different regions, you're going to see how you compare in different regions compared to the other websites in your benchmark. And that can give you great indication, just like the marketing channels, where perhaps you're outperforming and where you're underperforming compared to the benchmark, and where there might be opportunities for you to grow. Next is the devices benchmarking report, and this compares your device's data to the benchmark for desktop, mobile, and tablet sessions or traffic. So what we can see here is that on desktop, over the last 30 days, the Google Merchandise Store has had 20% more sessions. But what is very interesting is that on mobile and tablet, compared to the benchmark, we are underperforming by 75 to above 80%. So this is a great insight to understand why this is happening. Is our site not mobile friendly enough? Is maybe an app something that we need to develop? This is a great insight that compared to the industry, we could be missing out on a massive number of sessions and sales. So if we look back over and recap on how to use the benchmarking reports to grow a business, in this example, we can say that in terms of channels, we are outperforming in referral traffic, so we should continue to invest in that to have an advantage over competitors. We could maybe invest in this paid search because this is performing extremely well for the small number of users that we have, and our other benchmark are using this as a marketing channel. If we look at locations, we just selected one location, but there could be great insights if you can see how you're underperforming or overperforming in different regions. And definitely on devices now, we can see that we are potentially missing out on a lot of traffic and sales on mobile and tablet. And if we make fixes to that and track this trend, then we can really grow our business. So go ahead now, enable the benchmarking reports and check these out for yourself so you can get insights to grow a website.